Hello, my name is Sam, and welcome to another video talking about Tapforms 5 for iOS and Mac. We're now up to episode 4 on our meal planner journey, and today we're going to journey into the iOS side. You can see on screen here we've got my meal planner on my iPhone on the left here, and just pull down on that to show you that that's actually a real live syncing. And we've also got on the right, on my desktop, the document open up. Now, since the last episode where we covered using a script to add items to the shopping list, you can see that I've done a few shopping trips, and one thing I want to cover is actually a change that happened in the way we handle the shopping list items. Now, if we click into that, you'll notice on the desktop I'm now using the multi-column list view, and then on the iPhone, obviously we've still got our normal list view, but you'll notice it's a little different on the iPhone. You can see at the top there's a little tick box and then acquired, and then there's a checked actual tick box with acquired written in it. And we've got some of my items that I haven't bought, some wraps for a duck meal that I'm planning, onions, mushrooms, green onions, and beef mince, as well as some of the stuff that I have bought in recent memory. Now on iOS, obviously we can do the same tick for pending items, and that gets us to our saved search on iOS, and that's completely the same. But this is to get this to work is a bit of a change, and actually what I'm going to do is show you what it looks like on the desktop, but we can do the same thing on iOS. And so what I've done here, I've set the first sort field to be date acquired. Previously that was actually acquired. And what we've done is moved acquired into the group by records. And since that's a checkbox on iOS, that's now unlocked this iOS checkbox behavior. We also made acquired the first item again. So that also means that on iOS, we have this interface where we've got our checkmark boxes on the left there. And we'll give that a spin a little bit later. The last change was obviously because we didn't have a third sort field, item got moved up to the second. On the desktop, you can see I'm now using the multi-column list view instead of the single column list view for this particular interface, and it looks sort of a little more natural towards what a checklist should look like. And a bunch of this is suggestions from Brendan, the developer of Tapforms, on how to get this moving a little bit smoother. One of the other things that we did behind the scenes is I favorited the script the form script that we used in the shopping trips, and so there's a button at the top here that allows us to do this add items to shopping list, and I ticked this thinking that it might actually show up in this record view, and then I realized it was only in the top level record. So we're gonna, in this episode, go over building a script, modifying that script I should say, to just create a new record first, so that we can very quickly just click this add items to shopping list script. As you can see, I've done a few shopping trips. One of the other items I need to add is, you notice on March 6th, I have 2 entries. That's because I actually went to 2 different shopping places. There's a shopping store called 99 Ranch where I live, that's mostly Asian grocery items, and then there's Albertsons, which also own Vons and Safeway and a few other brands. So more traditional Western style food there. And so on the 6th, I went to one of each to get items that made sense for each shop, and I'm gonna add to this a new field. So let's get started. So in our fields, we're gonna add a brand new item just ahead of our shopping list items, and we're just gonna call it location. And I'm gonna say cucumber, barbecue ribs. You know, this is probably 99 Ranch that we went here. And here, avocado, corn chips, cornflakes, milk, and celery. Well, that was definitely an Albertson. 7th, more celery. So it's Albertsons. Baking soda, corn. This is probably an Albertsons. And then the last one is I did a trip to 99 Ranch on this weekend. Now, if you've been noticing on the left here, as the phone has synced, and we're using CouchDB here, hosted on my local network, you can see that the phone has automatically updated as I've made those changes. There's a bit of a lag, a couple of seconds between a change being made on the phone, change being made here on the desktop, and it syncing over Wi-Fi to my phone. You can see that happening in real time. So that's our first change. Our second change is we're going to change add items to shopping list to create new shopping trip. And what we're going to do here is actually what we'll do is delete everything that's there, hit save, and what that's actually going to do is cause Tapforms to regenerate my placeholder text, and we'll just paste that back in and delete some of that. This is really kind of cosmetic, if I'm honest, but what we'll do is create a new record, and we do that by form.add record, new record, and do that after that, and then we just do new record. We'll hit save on that, and we'll hit run just to see what that does. Make sure that works. Okay, no errors, that's good. When we hit save, we can see we've got 14th of March entry, and it's automatically added our new entries. Now, my phone went to sleep, unfortunately. So let's reopen that, and we can see that now once it comes up and syncs, we can see our brand new 14 entry. We're going to delete that, and we're going to click on our run script button, and we're going to click create new script. We can see on the right here on my desktop that disappeared, and now we can see on the phone it didn't work. Wow, that's a little weird. So let's go debug that. And create new shopping trip. That's what we expect. Run script. That seems to have worked. Oh, and interesting. Maybe we've found a bug in iOS, the iOS version. Yes. So we can see on the desktop it's actually created 2 entries instead of the one that we sort of expected. So we'll just delete those. Again, it's going to automatically sync that over to the phone in a minute or so. There we go. But this is how quickly CouchDB sync with Tapforms can be. And maybe a little bug there with adding that add to script thing. So let's try that one more time. So we ran it. It didn't seem to do anything. But when we hit back and we go back in, we can see that the new entry is there. And it's got our new location field as well. When we click into this on the phone, we can also see that now we've got that same interface. And if I click on onions, it jumps from the top of the list where it says has acquired unticked to the bottom of the list with the acquired tick. And obviously, if I untick that, that goes back. Now, let's say for this trip, I actually don't want beef mince. And what we can do is swipe to the right. And we've got 2 options here. We've got unlink, which will remove this from this entry, and we've got delete. Now, I don't want to not buy this. So what we're going to do is hit unlink so that a different shopping trip that I do maybe will pick up some beef mince, perhaps from the Asian grocery store, or maybe Albertsons. We're going to different places. One other thing is we actually bought green onions the other day, and we forgot to do it when we actually added it twice. So let's get rid of that entirely. And now when we go back, we've got all of that updated. And obviously when we look over on the Mac, we can see that this is also up to date as well with mushrooms, beef mince, and the wrap for the duck. We're missing the onions. That's an interesting one. We'll have to figure that out. Refresh. There we go. Now we've got this all set up so that we can sync everything over. We've got a brand new location field. We've updated our script. There's one other change I kind of wanted to make. So I've been living with this for a while, and now we've been starting to plan out the meals. One of the other changes I wanted to do was to change how we order the meals. And one of the challenges with that is that when we order by the meal type, and you can see here I've got dinner, lunch, lunch, dinner, dinner, lunch. It's a little bit confusing because it's sort of out of order. Now, the simple way to do this would be to order by meal type, right? And the problem with that is it becomes dinner, lunch, dinner, lunch, dinner, lunch. And if I put breakfast in, it becomes breakfast, dinner, lunch. And that doesn't really make sense. So we could put it backwards and we've got lunch, dinner, which is good. But as soon as I put breakfast in, breakfast is the last entry. So what we're going to do to work around this is we're going to use a script field again. Put that to the bottom of our list. And what we're going to do here is handle type ordering. Now, we could also change our meal type to be 1 breakfast, 2 dinner, lunch, 3 dinner, but we're going to give a script a try. And what we're going to do is get the meal type, and we're going to use a switch statement, switch meal type. I'm going to do case breakfast. I'm going to return a 1, which is going to be our first item. We're going to do, and we'll put a break in there, lunch, return 2. Put a break in there, and then if it's dinner, return 3, break, and then we're going to put a default case in case nothing matches, and we're going to just make that 0 and hit break. And we'll need one more closing bracket so that we line up. 1, 2, 1, 2. Very good. Let's hit run on that, and we get back 3. Let's hit save. We're going to hide this field again, because we don't want it to show up. And we're going to do sorting by type ordering. And that will set it up so that now let's add in breakfast. And as I said on one of my previous things, my breakfast is in fact coffee. So now that we've got breakfast, and that looks like it was a bad entry, let's just delete that. And we go to today. We have breakfast, dinner. Apparently I didn't have lunch today. So let's just add in lunch for today as well, because for today for lunch I had I actually had coffee ribs. I had coffee ribs 3 meals in a row. So coffee, then coffee ribs, and then more coffee ribs. So we can see here it's nicely ordered. One other thing that is jumping out at me here is these labels are not particularly useful. So what we might do is change this so that meal name is at the top, and we put meal date down below. And we're gonna have to switch around to have that reload. And now we can see the meals for the day for each of the things. This obviously only limited to 2. Most of the time I only do breakfast and lunch. And you can see for the next week what I've got planned for lunch and dinner. Can we tick show title on list view? I'm not sure if that works properly for here. No, it does not. So we can see so we can see meal name there on the left. I was kind of hoping maybe it would work on the calendar, but it doesn't look like that's gonna be the case. Let's see if I can get that a little bigger, and It's not going to show us more than 2, unfortunately. So that's a quick addition here. Obviously, we've now got our calendar view. We can see the items. We can click on them to get our list of items for the day and update and add to it. And that's sort of all I wanted to do for today. So hopefully that was interesting to you. Let me know in the comments below if there are any directions you want to take this. I think this form is pretty close to done. We might do some more iterations, and I'll do a follow-up video that'll be episode 5. But I think at the moment I'm kind of happy with where this is at. We've gone through a quick example of how you can use the checkbox fields on iOS to get you that sort of checklist sort of experience with the grouped fields. We've seen the sync in action using CouchDB and just how snappy that can be. And we've also done some additions to scripting and quality of life on the document that we've got here. Again, if this was interesting to you, leave a comment, please. If you liked it, hit like. If this wasn't interesting or valuable, hit that dislike button, leave a comment, tell me how I can make these videos better and more interesting. These videos are again recorded sort of somewhat ad hoc, so hit the subscribe button so that you know when the next video comes up, and happy tap formsing.